What's up, guys? Hopefully all of you are doing well. Man, have I missed y'all. Y'all have no idea, but y'all know I've been back here taking care of family and making some slight life adjustments. But today, hopefully we can get on back to business. I'm going to be showing you guys one of my family favorites when we go on vacation. This is my shrimp with bacon over cheese grits. We eat, sleep, swim, and repeat. Let's get into it. First things first, I chopped up some celery, bell pepper, and onion, and some fresh thyme. If you don't have fresh thyme, you can go ahead and use dry. And of course, don't forget the garlic. I have that chopped up and laid to the side on the back of the cutting board. Then I took about 6 slices of really thick, nice center cut bacon, and I'm just going to dice that up. We need to render the bacon down so that we can use some of the bacon fat for the base of this dish. I know. When you're doing a task like this, remember, cold meat cuts better. So this bacon is right out of the fridge, and a sharp knife is your best friend. I have a preheated skillet over medium-high heat, and I'm just going to add the chopped bacon right in there. And I'm just going to slowly let that bacon render down and let the fat slowly come out, and the bacon is going to get really crispy. Now we can go ahead and remove the bacon. It's nice and crispy, and we're going to be left with more than enough fat than what we need for this dish actually. Actually, what we need is about 6 tablespoons or 1/3 of a cup for the base of the sauce, and we're going to go ahead and measure it out. For the exact measurements to this recipe, be sure to check out gdseasoning.com. The link will be below in the description. I'm going to say that again. The link is below in the description. All right, there's our bacon all nice and drained. Let's move on and measure our oil. I'm measuring it because I don't want you guys to eyeball this. If you use too much bacon fat, you will be left with a greasy sauce. So I just measure it out, and you can use the other bacon fat for whatever you want, really. Our skillet is still over medium-high heat, and as you can see, I added that 1/3 cup of bacon fat right back into the skillet along with the Trinity, and I'm just going to stir that around until those vegetables are nice and soft. It takes about 5 minutes. Next, I'm going to add 1/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour, which I'm going to stir for about 3 to 5 minutes or so, just until that flour is cooked out and nice and lightly brown. Doesn't have to be too dark. I'm just going to stir that around, and then I'm going to add my garlic. The reason why I didn't put the garlic in earlier is because I didn't want it to burn and get bitter before we added the seafood stock. And speaking of seafood stock, let's talk for a minute. Seafood stock rarely comes in a low sodium form. If you can find it, great, but most of it is rocking with about 550 to 600 milligrams of sodium per serving, as opposed to maybe a low sodium chicken stock, which comes to about 100 milligrams per serving. So I tread very lightly. I go ahead and I use it. And in this recipe, we're using roughly 3.5 to 3 3/4 cup of that broth. So go ahead and stir it around. And once I add it, I just take a clean spoon, taste it once, don't be double dipping. And then I go in with the seasonings that I feel that would complement the dish. But remember, still, you don't want to go too heavy on the sodium because the dish is going to reduce for like 15 or 20 minutes. And as dishes reduce over medium heat or medium high heat even, the flavors will get more intense. So you don't want to end up with a dish that's too salty. So while our sauce is simmering for about 15 minutes, let's talk grits. I put these two next to each other because I needed the new cooks, or for those of you who don't know, that polenta or yellow corn grits is the same as the southern style white corn grits. If you see on the white corn grits package, it says AKA polenta. It just depends on where you're at, what store you're at, and what cuisine you are eating. You will find white corn grits more in soul food and southern cooking, whereas the yellow grits or polenta is found more in the Italian style cooking. And I will tell you this, that the meal, depending on the brand, the meal of the corn can sometimes be more coarse on the polenta side. So that just means you may have to add more liquid to it when you're making it, whereas the white corn grits may be more finely milled. But all in all, they're the same. So I don't want you to get nervous when you find only one or the other at the store. All right, we've talked about grits. Let's cook some grits. Now, into a saucepan, I added 3 cups of chicken stock, or you can use the seafood stock, and I have 1 cup of milk, and I brought it to a boil over medium-high heat, and I'm going to add 1 cup of white grits. 1 cup. This is a 4-to-1 ratio. Some people will like 5-to-1 ratio, but I'm going to do 4 so you can see how nice and thick these grits are, especially after you add a cup of cheese. It's going to be really thick, and then at that point you can see how nice and thick they are. If you don't like your grits this thick or you want them to be a little more loose, you can go ahead and just add another hot cup of chicken stock. Just heat it up in the microwave, slowly drizzle it in with a fast whisk, and then you can add your cheese. But after you add the cheese like so, and that's about a cup of cheese, they're gonna get even thicker. So don't panic if you see them tightening up. Just thin them out with some more liquid. And by the way, I don't think I've mentioned it, these are not quick cooking grits. These grits take about 15 to 20 minutes, so they take a little time. Some Southerners want to smack that head if they find out you use quick grits for this dish. So, you can do it, you can use them, but, I'm not. So, let's move on. So our sauce is now nice and slightly thickened. We let it reduce for about 15 minutes and just hang out while we cook the grits, and then I'm going to add my seasoned shrimp, and I have some smoked paprika on that shrimp, and they're lightly salted. Once I combine the sauce with the shrimp, you can give it a final taste after the shrimp is done. But like I said, you can control this dish, taste it at each step. That way you'll know how much sodium to add so you don't take it too far. Of course, I'm going to add some fresh parsley and the juice of half a lemon to give it a nice bright flavor. And you're ready to eat. It's really that simple. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this step-by-step breakdown of this dish. Like I said, I make this while we're on vacation, and sometimes I even swap out some of the seafood stock for white wine, which will give the dish a nice twist on the flavors. We have some champagne or some cocktails, and then we sit down and enjoy our creamy cheese grits with this wonderful shrimp and this silky sauce. Thank you guys so much for coming and cooking with me and hanging out. You know I appreciate it. Don't forget, this recipe and others can be found at gdseasoning.com. And our new upload day will be on Sundays. We will be uploading videos on Sundays. Maybe once in a while I'll do a bonus video during the week, but our regular day will be on Sundays. And I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everybody.